Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode of our entitled parents. In today's episode, EM wants me banned from football because her daughter broke my ankle. Parents who think it's okay to let your child pet guide dogs. What the hell? My daughter's father sent a priest to harass me. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. EM wants me banned from football because her daughter broke my ankle. So this happened when I was about 12 years old. I played for a local girls' football/soccer team as the goalie. We played on a field not far from my house for home games. We went up against another local team in the county tournament. This team had a girl on it who I'll call In. In's mother, EM, was a known problem. She'd scream if her daughter was so much as touched and had been known to be threatening to both parents and players. In was lovely, and we actually knew each other from school. There was a friendly sort of rivalry between us. About halfway through the first half, In came at goal and we ended up both going for the ball at the same time. Her foot connected hard with my ankle and I immediately knew it was broken. In had apparently heard the break and helped me to the ground, yelling for help. When I looked down, my foot was at a very strange angle. Both coaches helped me off the pitch, In beside me holding my hand, both of us crying. Other players were gathering round, but the coaches told them to step back and give me some space. My parents appeared and sat with me while my team's coach called for an ambulance. At this point, EM appears. I hear her before I see her. EM, what's going on? In, get back on the field. In, Mom, I broke XY's ankle. I want to stay with her. I'll be red carded anyway. For those who don't know, usually if there's a foul you'd get a yellow card, and 2 yellow cards cause you to be red carded and sent off. However, if a foul of particularly bad or causes serious injury, you're red carded straight away. EM, red carded? Why? Because she didn't get out of the way in time. My mom, no, because it happened. I don't think In meant for it to happen, but it still did. EM, well, I think your daughter did this on purpose to make In look bad. I bet she's faking it. Me, still crying and in too much pain for patience. If you think I can make my ankle bend like that myself, then you're stupid. EM, how dare you? Turns to the coach. I want the police here too, for defamation of my daughter's character. At this point, the referee comes over to check how I am and to let In know that, as she thought, she's red carded. In doesn't seem to care, but EM explodes. EM, you can't red card my daughter. Red card that little b asterisk tch, in fact ban her from the game. She's putting it on purpose. Look. At this point she kicks my ankle with her foot. It's not hard, but still agony because of the break. I screamed, and my mom jumped up to take EM on. The other team's coach had to get between them to stop a fight. An ambulance shows up during this, and the paramedics come to help me. They managed to get both In and me laughing and helped to secure my ankle so as not to cause more injury. My dad told them about what EM had done, and one of the paramedics shook her head and said, "You can't help stupid, I guess." The police also showed up while I was being sorted out. I didn't see this part, but was told about it by other players later. EM started yelling that my mom and I should be arrested for defamation. However, after being told by several witnesses what had happened, EM was arrested for assault. I was taken to hospital in the ambulance, my mom riding with me and dad driving the family car. It turned out that I had a break in 2 places in my ankle. I have a strong suspicion that one of the breaks was the result of EM's kick, but that can't be proven. I had to wear a cast for 6 weeks and missed a week of school. In and other members of both teams came to visit me at home in the following days. EM was cautioned and released, but was issued with a lifetime touchline ban by the team's coach. She apparently tried to show up at a couple of games, but other parents made her leave again. Thankfully, In is still lovely, and we remain friends to this day. While that EM is really lucky that it wasn't one of my daughters. It would have taken more than one coach to keep me from really hurting her. I'm glad that you and the girl who accidentally broke your ankle are still friends. I just can't believe that adults are this childish. That's the only thing with kids' teams. The adults are worse than the children most of the time. I'm a mom myself now and really want to avoid being that mom at my children's sports stuff. All the joys of being a goalie. I had once dived for a ball and was laying on top of it. Girl who had kicked it kept running at me and didn't stop. Kicked me square in the nose, with the same force that she would kick the ball which was under my torso. Fairly sure I blacked out for a couple seconds and had a concussion, but miraculously my nose wasn't broken. I went back in the game for the last little part, lol. Bruised bad though. I swear a nose hit is like a rite of passage for a goalie, haha. I got hit square in the nose and mouth by another player once, and she thought she'd made my front tooth go crooked. Nope, was just my teeth that were getting treated by orthodontists. If a parent says that my kid is faking an injury and kicks their broken body part, I'll shove them and ask them in a menacing voice, would you like it if someone did the same thing to you? Parents who think it's okay to let your child pet guide dogs. What the hell? This is not a post about a particular instance per se, but of the general experience I get as a blind person. I get people who pet my guide dog, which is a huge no-no. Never pet a service dog, especially a guide dog. Most often, it's just people who don't know you're not supposed to do that. When I politely tell them not to do it, they apologize and leave. Often I have people ignore me and still pet them, at which point I will usually command my dog to take me out of the situation. Less often, people will actually confront me about it, accusing me of being cruel for not allowing my dog pets. Of this latter group, the vast majority of the time, it is entitled parents with their demon spawn. I don't know why, but I would say at least once a week, I will experience a child petting my dog, me telling them no, and the parent making a fuss about it, telling me that it's mean to their kid not to let them touch my dog. I once had a parent try to get me kicked out of somewhere for having a fake service dog. During one of these interactions, I've had many simply tell their kids to keep petting even after I've told them no. Many have full-on started screaming and shouting at me. And as a small blind girl, this is quite scary. One sticks out in my mind, where I was in a supermarket, British for mall, and more than one kid too, I think, screamed "doggy" and ran over to him after my normal, "Hey guys, please don't touch him. He's a guide dog," etc. I hear, 2 feet from my right ear, a female shouting at me about having my dog indoors. After saying I was a blind person, and he was my guide dog, she then accused me of pretending to be blind. Her reasoning? Your eyes are perfectly normal. Besides the fact that this doesn't change the fact I was or was not blind, it is also something I hear on an almost daily basis. After some back and forth, during which she told her kids to keep petting him, she actually took my leash off me. This is why this particular interaction is so ingrained in my memory, and you have to understand how absolutely terrifying that is. It's like if someone came along and blinded you. I was utterly helpless. I started screaming, panicking, and crying in the middle of this place, and eventually drew the attention of staff who, rather unhelpfully, dealt with the situation. The point of this post? Simply just to express my built-up rage over the years at the number of entitled parents who believe that their kid's right to touch a cute animal overrides the safety of disabled individuals. I have had so many bad interactions with people of all types and stories galore. But entitled parents remain my moments of infamy. Because not only are they being absolute turd goblins, but they're teaching their kids to be turd goblins too. If you're someone with a service animal who has any similar experiences, please let us vent together. If you're someone who pets, talks to, or in any way interact with service animals with their vests on, stop doing that. And to parents who let their kids do this, why are you such a turd? I'm sure this is not a rational answer, but if a stranger touches me, I will yell. This just happened in a store a few weeks ago because a woman was upset I was wearing a COVID mask. So I started yelling, "You're a stranger, stop touching me." It got attention very fast, and she was taken out of the store. I'm sorry you even have reason to post this. It's not fair. Dude, what's with people in masks? Since we started wearing them at work, food industry, we've had multiple people tell us to take them off. And we're just like, no. Even if this wasn't for your safety, because you guys are idiots who won't stop going out in a pandemic, but we don't say that part out loud. We're not putting our safety at risk because you don't like us wearing masks. She actually took my leash off me. In a fair world, that should have ended in her arrest. Are there ways that you can secure the leash so it can't be taken from you? Are there ways to attract the attention of sane, helpful bystanders besides loud noises that would hurt your dog's sensitive ears? I would have no qualms physically picking up a child and holding them up in the air in full view of any nice security cameras if I was nearby. Honestly, people should always ask before petting someone else's dog, and that goes double for service dogs. I've always told my son to ask for permission to pet a dog when he sees one. Service dogs are doing a job, and regular pets may have anxiety or aggression issues. It's impossible to know what dogs won't react well to a stranger touching them. I have a dog that can be the sweetest dog ever, but she doesn't do well with young children. She was tormented in the past and doesn't feel comfortable with them. I have to tell every child that comes to my house not to pet her and to let me know if she starts growling. I usually put her outside when there are kids over to avoid those situations, but it's not always feasible depending on the weather. I have heard so many stories about people completely ignoring an owner's request, and I wish I knew what makes them feel entitled to pet someone's dog after being told no. My daughter's father sent a priest to harass me. I had no intentions to do a new post, but today absolutely took the cake. To those that don't know, my daughter, 6 years old, was born from a one-night stand with Jeff. We were never romantically involved. It was a simple one-night stand, and we did use contraceptives, but they failed. It happens. A few months ago, Jeff went full psycho and tried to convince me to leave my daughter with him so she could serve as a replacement child for his wife who recently lost their infant daughter. I refused, and right now we're in the middle of some legal issues. Now for today, I thankfully didn't deal with Jeff. Instead, he sent a priest to harass me at work. I'm going to be very blunt. I am completely detached from religion. I'm not an atheist, just don't really like the idea of the Catholic Church. That's the leading religion in my home country. I respect it, and most of my family is Catholic, so I have a detached respect for church officials. Today I was doing some paperwork when I got a call about a priest asking for me. I didn't have any meetings scheduled, and a lot of times we get visits from clergy asking for donations or participation in events, so I figured that was it. I told the secretary to let him in, and things at first seemed rather polite. Shake hands, asking how things were. The usual chit-chat. Then the priest began talking about how it had come to his attention that I was a single woman with a child, and that apparently I lived a life of debauchery and hate. His words. I was taken aback and agreed I was a single mother, but that I didn't see how I lived in debauchery and hate. The priest then went on about how he knew my daughter is prohibited from spending time with her father and that I'm constantly sleeping around with men. How he was worried and thought it would be best I considered giving my daughter a chance to live with a proper family rather than see me sell myself. Angry was an understatement. I did keep it civil simply because I was at work and I had no intentions of screaming to a religious man at work. I simply told him that my daughter was fine with me, she lived a safe and happy life, my personal affairs were my own, and that I had no intentions of sending her to another household. I told him that if there was nothing else, he should probably leave as I had other things to attend to. He then showed his hand, and that's how I know it was Jeff's doing. The priest told me he didn't think my daughter would be a happy child with me, but her father was well respected in his church, and he knew he would raise a proper Christian lady. At that I laughed and simply said, no. I once again recommended he left, and if he didn't, I would be calling security. He left saying he would try to speak to me again when I'm not being hysterical. I told my secretary and our security not to let him into my office again. And I called my lawyer. I don't have audio, but we do have security feed from him walking into my office. Thank you again to everyone sending well wishes in my previous post. We are still working on that move, but school is back and she's loving it. We still have that temporary restraining order against Jeff and his wife, and school officials know it. File a police report for harassment by the priest. Ask your lawyer to write a letter stating that if he tries harass you again, you will be forced to seek legal action. Priest is lucky he didn't get someone like me. My mouth would have more than implied his child molesting self needed not concern himself with my child. Then I would have asked how many cases his church had, then his region, and so on, and that his concern is better served there. Oh man, am I angry for you. Oh, we're making a complaint to church leadership here. Police won't do anything because of how religion is viewed, so just going to jump over them. This is a violation of the RO. He can't have third parties contact you. Exactly what my lawyer said. If a priest shows up again, tell him, your one-night stand wanted you to abort your beautiful little girl, and there is no way in hell he will ever get to have your child as a replacement for his wife's lost child. He's really trying to get clergy involved? Isn't lying to a priest a sin or something? I can understand that they may be dealing with a lot because of the loss of their daughter, but pulling stunts like this is harassment. Could you use this in your case against him? I am so sorry you and your daughter have to deal with this level of insanity. How can his family think this is a good idea at all? Pretty sure is to use the "well, the church thinks I'll be a better parent" argument. It can be highly effective here sometimes. Catholic here. Make a complaint to the local bishop. The priest's behavior is unacceptable. Also, if you are able to, file a restraining order against that priest and report Jeff for violating his through third-party contact. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.